What is up, book nerds? My name is Hillary and welcome back to my channel. So I have decided that I'm going to tell you guys all the books that I want to read this summer. It's quite a bit. Some of them are chunkier than others, and some I want just the summer feel. There's a lot of romance in here, but there isn't just romance either. So let me just tell you what books I want to read for the summer. I really enjoy this series. It's short chapters, so it feels like you read so much in these books. And I know it's very toxic, but sometimes it's just nice to read stories about that and to see the whole story come together and what happens between them. Now, I did go and meet Anna Todd last year around my birthday, and it was so much fun. I got her new book, and I got it signed, and she's so sweet. And by the way, this was a Wattpad book, so it's not like the greatest writing, but it's nice, it's simple, you don't have to think too much on it, and it's very summery. The next book I'm going to be talking to you about is kind of like a darker romance, and I believe, and it deals with some heavy topics, and that book is Darling Venom by Parker S. Huntington. I am not 100% sure what this is about, but I think it deals with this girl and this guy, and they meet every Valentine's Day, and one year he doesn't show up and his brother shows up instead, and they're both going through a lot at that point with personal stuff and mental stuff. So I am excited to read this. I've heard great things about it and just think it's going to be a great read. I just need to be in the right mindset to read it. So this next book is a historical fiction, and I've heard great things on BookTube about it, and that book is Lovely War by Julie Berry. I believe this takes place during World War II and has romance in it, and I've heard it's really good. It says, in the perilous days of World War I and II, the gods held the fates and the hearts of four mortals in their hands. Oh, and this is about, I'm pretty sure it's about Aphrodite, if I'm not wrong. Yes, right here. It's a story told by the goddess Aphrodite, and that just sounds very interesting, and if it's written right, then I'm going to absolutely love this book. This next book I've had for a couple years now, and I feel like I missed the hype on it, but I want to know what it's about, and that is Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi. I don't really know what this is about. From what I think, from what it says, by the title, I think it's about a girl and a guy who probably they text each other type of thing and talk to each other about their problems, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But I just think it's going to be really good to read, and hopefully I really enjoy it because I've heard great things about Mary H.K. Choi's writing, and I have her book, Permanent Record. So if you have read either one of these, tell me which one I should read first. If I should read Emergency Contact or Permanent Record, or even do a reading vlog reading these two books. Alright, so these next two books are by the same author, but they're totally two different stories, and one of them I have read and I just want to reread it and annotate it, and the other one I haven't read. And those two books are Credence and Birthday Girl, both by Penelope Douglas. I really like Penelope Douglas's writing. I've read a lot of her books, and I love the spiciness of them and the smut in it. And so Birthday Girl is an age gap romance between an ex-boyfriend's father and the ex-girlfriend, and that just sounds very interesting. And Credence is more of a taboo story. It's in a way, step-cousins relationship, but they're not really step-cousins, if you get what I mean. But this one I really did enjoy when I read it the first time, and I am very excited to read it another time. Alright, and this next book is a newer book that I got last week, and it just reminds me of summer, and I've heard great things about this author's writing, and that book is Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. She wrote Every Summer After, and I have that book, and I haven't read it yet, but I am excited to read this. It's a gorgeous book, and it says, "You and me in 1 year, don't let me down." So what I'm guessing is these two meet one summer, and the next year they decide to meet back up, and it's kind of like a every year type of thing, I'm guessing. Not 100% sure. Don't want to know much going into it because it is a shorter book, and a lot of times romances give too much away in the synopsis, so I really don't want to know a lot going into this one. And the next book I'm going to be talking about and that I want to read this summer is Life's Too Short by Abby Jimenez. I have been collecting Abby Jimenez's books the past couple of months. I have Part of Your World. I have her new book, Yours Truly, and I have this one. And I've heard great things about her writing. If you watch Destiny Sidwell here on YouTube, she talks a lot about Abby Jimenez's writing, and she absolutely loves it. And she kind of just got me into wanting to pick up her books and read them because she said they're more simple and easy to get through and they're fast reads. And sometimes you just need that when you've read a heavy fantasy or a sadder book. But I really don't want to know anything going into this. And yeah, I just want to go in blind and read this. The next book I'm going to be talking about is by two of my favorite authors. I have loved every book that I've read by them so far, and that is Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. This one, I'm not 100% sure what it's about. It says a charming, laugh-out-loud novel filled with adventure, treasure, and of course, love. Christina Lauren's writing is very easy to get through. I do love her writing and want to read all of her books because I love the romance in them and the build-up and getting to know the characters. And my favorite book by her is The Unhoneymooners, or by them is The Unhoneymooners, and I don't know, it's something about their writing that just hits every time you read one of their books. And this next one is by an author that I talked about earlier, and that is The Falling by Anna Todd. This is the first book in the Brightest Star novel. The second one, I believe, comes out this summer, and this is the book that I went and saw her and got signed. All I know is the guy in this book is a military guy. He has PTSD, and he meets this girl. That's all I want to know going into it. I'm thinking it's going to be better writing than her After series because she's had a couple years of writing since then, and I have really high hopes for it. And just like the cover of it kind of gives me the feelings of summer nights, and I think it's going to be a great book. And the last one on this shelf is a chunker, and it's one that I've had for a couple years now. I need to get it read. I've started it, I've stopped it, but I'm really, really for sure going to read it this summer. And that is Empire the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. From what I know is this is kind of like a interview with the vampire type of situation. It's very hard to explain because when I was reading it, it was different. So, and I didn't make it that far into it, but it says, from holy cup comes holy light, the faithful hand sets world aright, and in the seven martyrs' sight, mere man shall end the endless night. So obviously this has vampires in it, and I am excited to read this. I'm going to see if my mom wants to read it with me because she has a copy of it, and I think we both would really enjoy it because we love books with vampires in it, and I just want to see what her reaction to it. And we both love the Interview with the Vampire movie. I have the book, I need to read it, and go from there. Alright, moving on to this stack. I'm not going to talk about the books up here because these are the ones that I'm reading in my TBR. I will link that video in the eye if you want to go watch that and see what's up top. But, so for this stack, I'm going to start off with Funny You Should Ask by Alyssa Sussman. I really don't know anything about this, but I just know that there is a then and a now in this story, and I love books with that, and it's a shorter book. It's maybe just at 300 pages, yeah, something like that, and I think it would be a fun summer read, and I've heard great things about it. The next book on here is a manga, and that is Spy Family Volume 2. I read the first volume last year, Absolutely loved it. Have all the volumes now and just have not moved on to it. And I don't know why, because these are such easy reads to get through. If you don't know what Spy Family is about, it's about this guy who is obviously a spy, and part of his job that he has to do is basically make this family. So he needs to get married to someone, he needs to adopt a child, get that child into a school, and find out things about the school. But little does he know, the wife that he married is actually, she's an assassin. So, and the little girl is telepathic. So they all are keeping their secrets. The only one who knows anything about each one of the parents is the little girl, because she can read minds, and it's kind of funny, and I can't wait to move on with this series. The next book in the stack is a movie that came out late last year, and it's on Netflix. I love this author's other trilogy that she had, and that book is The Last Letter from Your Lover by Jojo Moyes. I enjoy Jojo Moyes' writing. I started this book and just wasn't into it at the time that I started it, but I'm hoping this summer just kind of comes around to that. It says, I'll be at platform 4 Paddington on Monday evening, and there is nothing in the world that would make me happier than if you found the courage to come with me. That's all I need to read it. It's like, oh, it's so sweet, and I can't wait to read it and find out what happens and to see how much I love it. This next book I'm going to talk about is another chunker book, but it is 2 books in one, and that book is Summer on East End, and this book includes Triple Moon and Double Eclipse, both by Melissa de la Cruz. It's about witches, and obviously it takes place in summer, so what's the perfect time to read it than summer? And that's all I really need to know. It says, the beach is the perfect place for love and some summer trouble. That sounds like fun. It's a YA, and I'm pretty sure I can get through this book pretty quick because the writing in it is actually like kind of bigger. So I don't think it would take me too long to read this book. So lately I found this author that I absolutely love. I read one of her books this year already, and the newest one came out, and I enjoy her writing, and I got another book by her, and that is Rock Bottom Girl by Lucy Score. Don't know what it's about. Just know it's by Lucy Score, and I had to buy it. All it says at the top here is, starting over, never looked so good. That's all I need to know going into it. I'm wondering if it's not like a sports romance, because it has like looks like sports play on it. But we'll see, and I am excited to read this book. This next book I'm going to be talking about is one by an author that is very popular on BookTube, and I have never read one of her books, but I'm really excited that I'm going to this summer, and that book is The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata. Sports romance. I've heard it's slow burn. It's a chunky book, but I've heard it's worth the read and everything that goes on in it. I've heard it's great, and I get FOMO so bad that if I hear a book is so good and everybody's talking about it, I feel like I need to read it, and that's how I feel about this book. These next 2 books, I've read one of them, but they're part of a series, and the book that I read was Beautiful Disaster, and the next book I want to read this summer is Walking Disaster, both by Jamie McGuire. Beautiful Disaster just came out on Amazon Prime, and I read this a couple years ago, absolutely loved it, and just want to give it a reread and see what I think, and then read the second book, which I believe is in Travis's point of view, if I'm correct. And I just love the books so much and just want to get all of them. These next 2 books are by an author that has been around for a long time, and a couple of them one of them is a reread for me, and that is The Best of Me by Nicholas Sparks. I just feel like this is a perfect summer read, and I really want to read it and maybe rewatch the movie. I love his writing. It's simple. I've read almost every one of his books, and I own almost every one of his books, and just want to get back into my Nicholas Sparks era and enjoy it. And then the other book I want to read is See Me by Nicholas Sparks. I don't know if I've read this one, but I'm not 100% sure. Don't know what it's about, but I know I'm going to enjoy it. and perfect summer read because it takes place at the beach. And the last book that I'm going to be talking about in this video is kind of a thriller. It kind of gets mixed reviews about it, but I'm excited to read it, and that is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. From what I know is it's about this girl who like is in the in-between, and she can go, and she's in this library, and she can go and see her life, like if she dated this guy instead of this guy, what would have happened if she dated the guy over here instead of the boyfriend that she had, type of deal. And that just sounds really good, and I am very excited to read this, and it's shorter, and I think it'd be a nice little break in between all the romances that I want to read. But yeah, that is it for this video. If you've read any of these, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you have, let me know in the comments below what you thought about them and which ones I should start reading here soon. And that's it for this video, and as always, keep on reading, people. Bye!